Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leadership Heart Podcast with Sandra J. Horton, the Growth Catalyst. Hello, everyone, and what a wonderful evening. It is Friday, March the 3rd, and you are with us in the Leadership Heart Podcast. My name is Sandra Horton, and I am so excited, as always, of an exceptional guest today who, I tell you, it's a powerhouse. It's so exciting to me to have Tamrah Barber on our show today. This woman has transformed so many teen lives. She's an inspirational leader who changes organizations and teams and has been on so many amazing shows and is creating the new way forward. And I'm so excited. I'm going to bring beautiful Tamrah up. Hello, beautiful Tamrah. Thank you for being here to the Leadership Heart Podcast. Thank you. There's so much I want to share with the audience today about everything and all things that you do. But as we have this opportunity, I'm inspired to actually ask you, if you were to describe yourself and all that you are, and knowing how a beautiful public speaker you are, how would you describe yourself?
Quite simply, I am everything. I am everything. I am whoever I say I want to be in every moment. And that gives me the flexibility to be what I need to be for the people that I serve, that I work with, and that hopefully I inspire. And I always teach my teens that we have this question, who are you? And in that question, they run off all these things. I am a student. I am a child. I am a this. I am a that. And they go on and on and on. And at the end of the exercise, they get that they are everything. Just think about that, right? I am everything. That means we're all connected. We're connected to source. Source is connected to us. We extend out into the universe beyond. I love Bolte Taylor when she talks about the brain, and she had the Stroke of Genius, that book she wrote. She talks about when she was in the midst of the stroke, she felt like she was extending out into the universe. That is the I am everything.
The power of I am. And beyond all that, you are also a certified coach, ICF certified coach. She's an empowerment coach. There's so much beautifulness that you have today. And the reason I wanted to begin with that question is that you have so much potential. People have so much potential in how they can show up. And on the Leadership Heart Podcast, we ground ourselves in the 3 L's of conscious leadership, which is to learn, to live, and to lead. So I love your answer in terms of I am. But for some people, and I can say for myself, that wasn't always so easy, Tamrah, to define myself of who am I?
It's a journey.
It's a journey. So can you share with my audience, what has led you to become you? I'm throwing that beautiful big question out there.
Yeah, that's a big question.
It's a huge question. But we know together, you're going to get that download and you're going to be able to share, like you said, whatever is meant to come will come.
Yeah, and it's about becoming. And we're all on this journey of becoming. And my journey started, of course, at conception. And I would even dare to say it started before conception. I would even dare to say at one point in time, I was given an opportunity to come here and I chose everything. I chose my parents. And I'm making this all up, but it works for me.
It works for me too. I'm going with you, girl.
Parents, chose my
Oh.
family. I chose where I was going to grow up. I chose the experiences that I was going to have in life, the impact, all of that. And when I came here, I forgot all about it. When I was born, I completely forgot everything. And I have been on a journey of becoming who I am. Because when we're born, I feel like we forget. That is like erased from our minds. And now we're on this journey being in the question, who am I? And that's a question that we carry all the way through trying to fit in. From the moment I had my own consciousness and knew who I wanted to be, or thought I knew who I wanted to be. When I was little, I wanted to be a vet. What is it? Well, the V word for the doctor, animal doctor,
Oh, my dad was one. My dad was a veterinarian.
veterinarian. I want to be a veterinarian. That was what I wanted to be when I was younger. And then I
I
found
love it.
out that injured animals come, and I couldn't. My heart could not. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do
Yeah.
it. My heart hurt too bad. I love animals too much, and so then I wanted to be a teacher. And then in being a teacher, I was like, well, as I got older, I realized, okay, that salary might not be what I want to live my life on. And so I
Mhm.
pivoted and came up with all these things. And I never really landed on anything. So talk about becoming. I never really landed on anything.
Mm.
And I found a path. I just started doing stuff, just doing stuff, trying this, trying that. I did telemarketing. I was an administrative assistant. I got into technology and I got into project management and program management. And it just evolved. And I continued becoming. I took all
I
those
love that.
experiences that I had with me and I started to see how I was limiting myself, things that were in the way. And on this journey, angels come. Like there are people that come into your life. I call them angels that guide
Mhm.
you and show you the way. I was just having this conversation with my mentor. Angels come into your life and opportunities open up and there's something in you that says go for it, and there's another part of you that says, oh no, don't do that, right?
It's It's
You
like
can't do that. You don't
this
even
yeah,
know anything
right?
about that, right?
Shows up. Yeah.
But then there's this inner pull, tug forward,
Mm.
and you start going down those paths and you start learning more about yourself, about the world, and then before you know it, you're introduced to some conscious raising learning, whether it's spirituality, whether it's culture, but you're introduced to something that piques your mind and opens you up to a new perspective.
Mm.
And that's when it just starts lunging you forward.
I
And
love
how did I
that. I
get here?
love
That's
that.
how I got
Woo!
here. That's how
And
I
I
got
love
here.
that openness, Tamara, I apologize, I barged in on there a little bit, but
Yeah,
it really excites me because for many people, it's could be external circumstance that kind of gives you that aha moment. It's like you have to peel back kind of the proverbial onions, the layers within your onionness, and it's
yeah.
becoming and then asking good questions. So I'm going to ask this. Were there any specific good or great or wonderful, however you want to look at it, questions that you found were very helpful and supportive in understanding how to go within, because that's really what I'm hearing today is you went within.
Yeah, it was a big question. And the question, it was it was plastered on a wall. What are you pretending not to know?
Oh, that's interesting.
What are you pretending not to know? And I looked at that sign and it caused me to really think. And as we went into that conversation, I started realizing the things about myself, the limiting beliefs that I had created based on the experiences that I've had in my life. And in that awakening, that question awakened something in me, and I started being in more questions like, what is your vision? What is it that you want to accomplish in this world? Why were you created? Who are you created to be in this
Mhm.
world? What legacy do you want to leave? What is the meaning of your life? Who are you really?
Mhm.
Take the title of mom away, take the title of empowerment coach away, take any title that you've put on, take that off. Who are you at the essence of you? Being in that question, it opened my mind. It opened my mind so
Mhm.
wide, and it's like a rubber band being stretched. It never went back to its original shape.
And that's the cool part because we know a mind it can never kind of go back to its original shape, and that's
Yeah,
the power as well of understanding that we are, energy beings. We
absolutely.
are able to transform. We're able to, to shift. But for some people, that moment of, can I? I remember exact moment when I chose to break open. I call it breaking open to my earlier childhood trauma story. And it was like that was my circumstance that boom, I just realized, oh my goodness, I have lived a life suppressed for 34 years. I brought in, unfortunately, codependency, victimization, all these hosts of not such great things until I realized that, okay, wait a second. These things happened for me, not to me. And when I
Yeah,
realized that, I went even deeper into self-awareness and I began to shift and really like for my passion as, an emotional intelligence practitioner, all of the things I do, I realized that self-awareness piece that was powerful, Tamara. That was powerful. And finding your voice. Now, I know you're also an amazing, I'm going to shift a little bit here to someone who helps people find their voice, find their message to really, communicate that. So tell me
yeah.
how now that you've opened up, you've gone within, how did you learn to be able to speak it? You're learning it, you're being it, I am it. How do you then communicate it?
That's an interesting question. I really had to think about that as I went into public speaking
Mhm.
and getting to the essence of what kind of speaker I wanted to be in the world. And one of the things I had to do was look back. And when I
Mm,
really looked back, I saw the breadcrumbs. I could see the breadcrumbs. First of
mhm,
all, when I was growing up, I was brought up in the church. And my grandmother, she forced us to go to church every Sunday. We were like, she kept us in church. And we were the kids that my grandmother would always have us up front, either singing or reading a scripture. We were always speaking in front of someone.
mm,
So early on, the fear of speaking, I had to break through it. And if I wanted to play
right.
outside and if I wanted to do some of the things that I wanted to do, my grandmother had it such that if I didn't do that, then I couldn't do things that I wanted to do. So I ended up doing that. And then in high school, I actually did a big speech and I won class president. And so that was another big speech that I did in front of an entire student body. And as I grew up, I never really had that fear of public speaking. And so I started speaking more. And in my roles
Mhm.
in corporate America, I've had to speak quite a bit. And then one part of my role in one of the jobs that I had was preparing other people to speak. And so I started doing that. And before you knew it, that was my job. My only job was to prepare people to speak. So I've been doing that for over 20 years now. And
Wow.
and
20
so that's how
years?
I got into public speaking. Yeah, I've been doing it for a
That's a
very
long time. I mean, that's
yeah,
like the earlier infancy of,
yeah,
really finding your voice and then coming out and
absolutely.
sharing who you are. Now,
Yeah.
I know you do a lot of work with not
Mhm.
only, teens, but also with adults to really
Yeah.
help them go through some really struggling times. So, in this learning phase of finding yourself and getting your voice out there,
Mhm.
you created a lot of change. So do you have any, secret sauce, any, three golden tips, nuggets, strategies that have helped you in
Yeah.
being able to become that change agent that you are in through your learning that you're doing?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was being in integrity.
Important.
And when I say that from a learning perspective, if you're going to teach something, you must live it first.
Mm-hmm.
That has been one of the golden nuggets. If I'm going to teach the work of transformation, I get to transform myself and continue transforming. I can't challenge my teens to take themselves to the next level if I'm not taking myself to the next level. And that
Yes.
probably has been the biggest catalyst for the successes that I've been able to accomplish, because I have to keep taking myself on, because I can't tell
Yeah.
them to take themselves on if I'm not.
It's so true, but, it's really interesting because
That's
I
one.
can only share my story. Like, sometimes you have to, like, I'm always, "What can I learn? What is new? What is good?" Like, my mentor, Rex Sykes, always says, "Start your day out in that positive fashion. What is new and good?" And for some, I've seen it, my husband's a retired teacher now. For some people, it's like,
Mhm.
are you actually walking the talk? Are you actually learning yourself
That's
or
it.
not?
Walk the talk. That's number
Yeah,
one. Walk the
yeah,
talk.
yeah.
Number two, I would say, is being open,
Mhm.
being open to spiritual and divine guidance.
Mm.
So many people take everything into their own hands and force it through and make it happen, and wheel and deal and going for it. I'm in the grind, this, that. Sometimes just relax.
Yeah.
Relax. If you are walking the walk, if you are walking the talk and being the work that you are sharing, it will
Mhm.
come to you.
That's
Yes,
powerful there. I gotta have that moment to stop there because
it'll
that's
come
like a
to you.
whoa.
Now, not that you're not moving, sitting there waiting for it. No, you're
Yeah,
walking the road, and as you're walking the road, it will come to you and meet you. You don't have to sprint. You don't have to be the fastest runner. You just have to
true.
keep moving forward.
Yeah,
Just keep pushing forward. Whatever your vision is, keep pushing forward. And whatever it is that you want, it will come to you. You don't have to fight for it. You don't have to, connive for it. You don't have to, go through the back door. No, just go straight and the door will appear. And when it appears and the door opens, then you'll know you can go through. Sometimes you get to the door and it doesn't open. So sometimes you just have to tarry.
and you
Sometimes
know
you just have
what?
to
This is
tarry.
a key piece, Tamara, because I remember, again, I share my story. It's interesting. It's about the message, not me as the messenger. It's interesting, isn't it, that what I've experienced is in those moments of fully coming to faith to be able to say, okay, wait a second, is it my will or thy will? Is it, or however you
Yeah.
frame it, wherever you are in your own personal journey?
Mhm.
Because it's true when you're pre-programmed, and so many people are out there telling you, go, 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 do this. You compare, you contrast yourself with other people, and you just have to stop and just
Absolutely.
stop for that moment of what? Breath.
Yes. And that would be number three.
There you
Don't
go.
compare yourself. Don't compare
Yep,
yourself to other people. Your journey is your journey. Their journey is their journey. They are distinct.
they are.
You can learn from other people, but ultimately at the end of the day, no one can tell you how to
Yeah,
do what you have been called to do, because everything that you need to answer that call is inside of you, not out there. It's already inside of you, and you just get to walk that journey in faith, knowing that whatever you need is going to meet you there,
it's true.
and that's it. That's it. When I host trainings, I used to worry, like, oh my gosh, is anybody gonna show up, or any of the teams gonna show up? Is
Yeah,
anybody gonna register? Oh
yeah,
my gosh, it's happening. I've put all this money out there. I've invested in this, and I've learned that none of that works.
yeah.
What does work is to trust and be like, okay, God, for me, it's God. All right, God, I've made the investment. I've put it in motion, and I've done everything that I need to do. I've marketed. I've reached out to people. Now it's up to you to do your part.
It's so true. And this is an interesting piece too, and I love your laugh. I love it. Just like You exude it. And this is about being that role model, isn't it? So if you've got teens at home, if you've got, people who are surrounding you that perhaps maybe, are going through challenges or you may feel like they're on this stress path or you're just observing them without a bias or a prejudice. You're just observing them, which is a great skill that any conscious leader would welcome to invite into your conversation in this world, is to just observe and just say, how can you connect with that? So I want to go into connection, because when we go into living, as we're kind of just moving ourselves into the next kind of phase, if I will, of as we evolve, as we develop, we begin to really live it. Once we are understanding who we are, what we're destined for, where our purpose, our passion is, we're releasing, allowing, letting it come to us, but still being in motion. It's becoming that role model. So have you learned any like tips or strategies? I love tips and strategies. I keep going there, or insights about being a great or inspiring role model, for particularly for your teens, or
Yeah.
for your family members or anyone?
I think for me, the I would say three biggest things. The first one is presence. I
Powerful.
think you have to be present. Not Oftentimes we spend so much time worrying about the future. We spend so much time living in the past that we miss the moments.
The moment is
The
here.
moment. Yeah, like this moment. I'm not thinking about tomorrow. I'm not thinking about yesterday. I am in this moment with you. And
Yeah.
I am experiencing this podcast. I'm
Yeah.
experiencing you, and being present in the moment. That is
Mm.
living. That is where you can only live in the moment. You cannot live in the past, and you cannot live in the future. It's impossible. Your
Yes.
body
Yes.
is right here, right now. Breathe,
Here, feel yourself,
breathe
right?
in,
Feel
breathe out. You
yourself.
feel your butt on the seat. Like I am here right now in this moment. Now I'm in
Yeah.
this moment for every second that passes. So being present, I think empathy is
Powerful. Yeah.
another powerful way to be, so that you can connect with other people. You can
Mhm.
understand what is going on with people when they do crazy stuff, not getting offended, not taking it personal, having
Mm.
compassion instead of that knee-jerk fight back reaction. Just observe and be like,
Observe.
okay, there's
Respond,
something
not
underneath
react.
that that I don't know anything
Yeah.
about. And that has nothing to do with me. So I don't need to take it
Mhm.
personal. It has everything to do with that person. And I can
Mhm.
have empathy and compassion for them.
Mm.
And then
I love that.
living love. Like that would be the
Mm.
fourth L that I would add to this.
Love it.
Love. That is my word
Yeah.
for the year.
Yes.
Every year I pick a word. This year I picked love.
Mm.
Love.
Feel it. Feel
Yes,
it.
just love. Love people. Love
Mhm.
people. You cannot be an empowerment coach. You cannot be a success coach if you do not love people.
Yes.
Like, love people with all of their insecurities, with all of their parts of them that you might not like a lot. Love them. Because at one
True.
point, you probably were right there with them. You know how I know? Because if you weren't, you wouldn't even notice it.
That's true. That's true.
Mirror.
There it is. There's a boom
It's
right
a
there.
mirror. People are your mirror. So if you see something in
Yes.
someone else, 9.99% of the
Percent
time,
out of 100. I got you covered.
99.9% of the time, it's in
Ah,
you too. It might not show up just like that, but if
yeah.
you took a moment and you had the courage to look into the mirror, I'm sure you can find somewhere in your life where you
Yeah.
are operating just like that. Because if you didn't, it wouldn't even bother you. You wouldn't even notice it.
And Tamara, I want to go into this because I think this is a powerful place. And thank you for those who are joining live and those who are going to listen to this podcast later on Apple and Spotify and all those other lovely places. The key thing is, though, it's mindset too, though. It's about how we are able to reprogram our subconscious mind. Because you talked about this earlier, and I want to dive into this because I think this is really powerful area about mindset. And particularly when you're dealing with like teens and adults as well, who perhaps don't have that mindset. So when you wake up in the morning, how do you prepare yourself? Because you're this role model, you're in this state of beingness. How do you prepare yourself with the right mindset? Some like our beautiful mentor, not only Rex Sykes, but also Dennis Waitley talks about the winner's mindset. The new psychology of winning. I've been blessed to be in the mastermind with him. What do you do so that you're ready, you're able to be present, but also be in that right mindset to attack your day or positively engage your day?
Yeah, I call it grounding. I ground
Mm-hmm.
myself, especially when I've got a team training coming up, especially when I'm about to step in front of someone and share. I always ground myself. And I ground
Mm-hmm.
myself in who I am, who I'm called to be. I'm very clear that the work that I do is a divine calling for me. And so
Mm-hmm.
prayer is a big part of my grounding. I think my my training in general has prepared me from my mindset to my beingness to how I function and operate in the work of transformation. I've grown up in that work, and I
Mm-hmm.
think as I was learning it, I was doing it. I was being it, and I learned it to the extent that I got it in my bones. You know how you really study something and you learn it to the point
Yes,
where it becomes a part of who you are?
you're
Well,
integrated. It
yeah,
integrates
it's
into you.
integrated in everything that I do.
Yeah.
Everything that I do. And then I add my spirituality to that. And then I've done my own work on my limiting beliefs and tackling
Mm-hmm.
all all the dark side, the
Yeah, that's the
depth
dark side
of
for
who I
sure.
am,
Most
the
people.
dark side
Yeah.
of who I am. I've done that shadow work, and I've worked a lot on my mindset, my beingness, and my shadows, the things that I'm
Mm-hmm.
afraid of. I've closed all the back doors, and it's a constant work. But when you do that work and then you become that work, it doesn't take much to get grounded because it is
Mm-hmm.
who you are. And so I ground myself in the word of the year, which again is love. I ground myself in love. When I catch myself ready to snap on somebody, I'm like, whoop, no, Tamara, no,
Yeah.
love. And then I
Yes,
ground
and
myself.
that goes into that leading, doesn't it? And how I ground every morning is
Yeah.
I have a very religious, for me, spiritual being about grounding through my meditation. I
Hmm.
ground into, for me, and this
Yeah.
is just my story, Mother Earth, and then up to, higher calling consciousness. For me, it's God, source, infinite intelligence, wherever you are in that
Mhm.
spectrum of learning that's right for
Yeah.
you in these moments. And you feel it, don't you? Like you just imagine yourself
Yeah.
just in the energy that you are, the
It's
deep breathing,
beautiful.
the diaphragmatic, like the breath in and out. Even as we come together, I would invite all my, viewing audience, when you listen to this, take a breath now. In together and out together. Just
Absolutely.
allowing that flow. It's you're able to ignite different parts of yourself. As we know, some people will hear it, some people will see it, some people will feel it, especially in the gut. Like there's so many different ways we can
Solar plex.
interpret.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Mhm.
interpret the experience of that moment. Now, I know you also have some amazing opportunities for people to grow with you as you're leading others. So, can you kind of jump on in here? I want to make sure we honor that, like about the 12 program, the mastermind
Yeah.
that you have for all these things. I just want to make sure we honor that.
Yeah. Yeah. I took a Les Brown program it was a speaking program, and it wasn't because I wanted to
Mhm.
become a better speaker. It was because I wanted to find my story, the one that I wanted to share with the world.
Mhm.
And literally in a phone call with Les, boom, I had it. And then after that, I supported him in delivering the training.
I
and
love that.
so and so with all of that experience, I did with about a year with Les Brown. And
Mhm.
then with the work experience that I have over 20 years working with people on in public speaking, I decided that I was going to create a course because I focused most of my energy in working with teens. And so that was my
Mhm.
passion area. My other passion area was public speaking. And so I did that at work, but I never really created a product of my own for the world. And
Mhm.
what I felt a call to do was bring in that transformational work that I do with teens and the public speaking, marry those two together and create a public speaking course that helped people get clear on who they are, who they want to be as a speaker, what their affirmation is as a speaker, what their stories are, and how they're going to share those stories to make an impact in the world. And because I am a technical speaking coach, I want to teach them the technical aspects of speaking so that not only are you sharing your story, not only are you growing, but you are delivering technically accurate.
I
And so
love
that is
that, and
a
that's
lot of
because
what
you're
I do.
grounded. You're grounded, and this is where I wanted to link into this because you
Yeah.
have to get to know you have to know yourself from within to without,
Yeah. Because
and it's interesting, right?
public speaking is a responsibility. You have a
Yeah.
responsibility to share with the world. But
Mhm.
it's not just going out here and telling your story. It's being aware of the needs of your audience. So that is energy work, right? Being
Yep.
aware of what your audience needs. That is awareness, not only awareness of self, but awareness of others. And so that social and emotional learning aspect of what I do with teens, I bring that into technically speaking. And what I've seen is people discover themselves, go from
Mm.
not confidently speaking to extremely confidently speaking. I had a student in my course last night who, when he spoke, and it was class number 12, the entire class was like, "Oh my gosh." When they saw it from the beginning to now, he
It's like,
delivered
"Whoa!"
with perfection. We were all blown
Oh, I
away.
love it.
And this was an Indian technologist who
Oh,
was a
wow.
beautiful human being, just beautiful human being,
Mhm.
quiet, timid, shy, spoke very low. When he
Mm.
delivered in the 12th week, he was confident, bold. His story was seamless. He took us on a journey with him through this story. It was amazing. And that is the work that I love to do in the public speaking arena. So it's not just about telling your story, it's about who you are being, what's the impact you want to make. And now let's tighten these skills up so that you can do exactly that.
I love that, and I'm doing some powerful work as well, because people will sense the tonality, the texture, whether you wanna
Absolutely.
draw people in, you lower your voice, all these
In
beautiful
technical
things that you
aspects, so many tools.
ooh, so many tools that you can
Yeah,
bring to effectively
that's
get
right.
your message out there,
So it's
and
impactful and memorable. Yes.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. Wow.
Mm,
We've been on a bit of a journey ourselves from, getting to connect with you,
yeah.
learning a little bit about your exceptional story, what you're doing, how you're living, and now how you're leading. But you still are leading even more than what you shared. So I want to open this up even more to you, Tamara, to share also, you do this great work also on screen. Like you are actually on a new show. So can you share with my audience? I want them to be tune in to follow you in here as well.
Yeah, absolutely. On A&E Network, I did a series called Digital Intervention. And my tag name for teens is Teen Interventionist. And so
Love
that's
it.
how they found me.
It is so appropriate.
And
It's
that's why I
so
said it will
awesome.
come to that. They came to me. I did not go out and audition for anything. I was just living life
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
leading. And they found me, offered me an opportunity to be on the show, and I used the cognitive behavioral therapies that
Mhm.
I use in the training that I've learned, and it was about helping people deal with addiction to technology. But underneath that is always trauma. So really, it's about helping people see that the root of it is the trauma that they have not resolved, not addressed, and getting them to see that connection actually
Mhm.
frees them from the technology and opens the space to do something different with their lives. And you see those breakthroughs happening on live screen TV. So if you can go to A&E Network and look up digital intervention.
Wow, thank you, Tamara, so much for sharing that. I
Yeah.
was really powerfully called because I think it's so exceptional how you have allowed things, but also you've been this change enabler for things to happen. And
Yeah.
I just love your journey. I love, as I said earlier, it is a journey, and as we're always growing, being open. So if you have, teens in your house, be open to them, listen,
Yeah.
be, bring and invite them into your space and create space. And it's amazing what can transpire, and as we grow, there's just so much opportunity for our hearts to
Absolutely.
be, to expand and to reach more people. And you're doing all of that just so wonderfully and beautifully, um, divinely called, as we shared earlier. So as
Absolutely.
we, kind of wrap up our little podcast, I can't believe it's already 6:36 here. It's 9:36 your time. You must be getting tired. But I just want to say thank you so much for coming to the Leadership Heart podcast, because without heart, what do we have? We need to ground in heart, to have
Mm,
love, which is your key word, and just to be, to be it, and to exist, to give freely of all of the love. So in closing remarks, what would you like to share with my audience that you're called, or your heart is wanting to share at this moment?
I would say that word of the year. I want to share love. And I would challenge everyone. There's so much happening in our world.
Mhm.
There is a strong need for love on in all areas, with our youth that are coming through, the extreme teen leaders work that we do. We're launching in New York, and
Right. Yes. Thank
we're gonna
you.
love
Thank
on
you.
them. We've got teens coming
Mhm.
in from all different types of agencies, teens that have been incarcerated that are coming through juvenile justice system. And so we'll be working with teens from there, teens from families that are registering. And so loving on our young people, then loving on the people that are right beside us, our families. Let's get back
Yes.
to grounding and being a space of love so that your children, your family feel
Mhm.
safe, that they can come and share whatever is going on with them. It breaks my heart whenever I hear a person has taken a life,
Mhm.
taken their own life. For me, that's void of love, a
Mhm.
space for people. And yes, they might be dealing with some things, but pick the phone up, reach out to your people, let them know that they are loved. Because
Yeah.
I don't know anybody on the planet that doesn't want to experience love. I
Yes.
don't know anybody
Yes.
on the planet. So ground yourself in love and be that
Yes.
for the people in your circles.
Wow. Well, you've heard it now. So I'm going to, challenge all of us to, let's spread some love. Let's focus our intention and share love. So when you, listen and we wrap up this podcast, I want you to go out now, take action, and go share love in whatever it is that you can share. Perhaps it's that you find the love in just that connection. Maybe you share that you appreciate them for,
Yeah.
being in your world. Perhaps it's their strength that they show. Whatever it is, let's go out and share love.
And with
Express it
yourself.
freely. Yes, and thank you. And giving ourselves this hug. Let's give ourselves that beautiful hug, ground in, have that practice for self-love to, maybe after this we go and we sit down and we just take a deep breath in and say, wow, what a great week I've had. What am I grateful for? Wow, I really showed up amazingly with my heart this week. There's
Mhm.
so much opportunity. And so I thank you so much, from my heart to your heart, beautiful Tamrah. Thank you for having the connection, for being open to connection with
Absolutely.
myself. And I'm going to just
Always.
send you into the green room, and I will just end. It's just a quick little bit here. Thank you so much. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today on the Leadership Heart podcast. From my heart to your heart, I want to thank you again, and do take out now. Do it now. Share that love and be that conscious leader. Learn and just become everything and all things that you can. Live it fully from every essence, every cell of your life, every essence of you, and share yourself as wide as possible. Connect to your heart, to mind, to a higher calling and consciousness. You can in any moment. Just believe, have faith, be persistent, be consistent with all that you do. And you will become, you are it, I am it. It's the power of I am. In that positive frame, bring up your energy every morning, lead with that intention, and become truly that conscious leader. You are it. So thank you so much for taking some time today to be with us. And look forward to our next speaker next Thursday at 4:30 Pacific. You take it to your time. Thank you from me, Sandra Horton, your business success coach. I thank you again. Take care. Have a good evening. Bye for now.